We do need to move on because there is more to talk about in the Nico Harrison space because the Lakers were swept yesterday by the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron James and Austin Reeves did their thing, tried to, hang on for long enough for Luka to get healthy, but it sounds like based on what Luka said last night, he wasn't ever close to being healthy. And shoot, I don't know if they had made the West Finals if he would have been able to get on the floor. But it didn't happen. The Lakers are out, and it at least opens the window of possibility to talk about this trade a little bit further relative to how do you feel about it now? We're 15 months post-trade. Luka Doncic had what I would say was a very, very good 2025-2026 season in the MVP discussion all season long, put up numbers that were basically strikingly similar to his MVP candidate numbers in 2023-2024. I think the only check mark against him would be the injury, but how much can you really control that? He missed the final 5 games of the regular season. He missed all 10 playoff games. Aside from that, he was everything that we've come to expect him to be. I don't think there's any reason for Mavs fans to think any differently about it, but I have seen some comments in recent days that lead me to believe that at least some are changing their tune a little bit.
It's those Nico Harrison bots again, man. I'm telling you, they've got so many accounts on social media. No, do you remember what Luka Doncic did in the month of March?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of the best months of basketball in league history. I mean,
yes.
And we're just like a month removed from it, so it's out of our mind cycle. But I'm thinking like 6 weeks ago, we're all watching this like that was the worst trade of all time, and it was.
It still is.
Yeah, and listen, like it was then, it is now, but the Mavs are so unbelievably lucky that they won the draft lottery last year because it changed everything. I mean, they were on, like, it wasn't even a roller coaster. They were just going downhill, like one of those roads in San Francisco, like we're at the Full House Street. They were going straight downhill and going to be there for years, maybe at least half a decade. And winning the draft lottery changed everything. I mean, it's literally that simple.
If we can pull up VO25, this is a comment from a viewer, Andrew Sullivan. Still mad about the return for the trade. The gap between Luka and what they got for AD is the size of the Grand Canyon. This was interesting. I truly believe Luka will not live up to the hype we had hoped for him since his early days in Dallas. No MVPs in his future, and the injuries and whining are clearly still an issue for him. But this is, to your point, if it wasn't for the act of God that gave the Mavs Cooper flag, this franchise would be in the abyss right now, and that is absolutely true. If we can roll to 26, a comment from Grant Higbee, echoing more of your sentiment, still calling it the worst trade in the history of sports. He felt that was the case when it happened. He still feels it is the worst trade in the history of sports.
These guys are just reading my brain right now. Exactly right.
His injuries are unfortunate, but not his fault. Best offensive player in basketball when healthy, a certified superstar, and we gave him away for virtually nothing. And I think that's the thing. Even for those that want to start saying, well, look, Luka got hurt. Nika was right. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Yes, Luka got hurt. It was not a debilitating, career-altering injury.
You know who also got hurt?
Anthony Davis.
How many times?
But even if you want to grant Nico, and I don't, but even if you want to grant Nico, hey, look, Luka got hurt. His body's going to break down. He's not going to be able to hold up.
You trade for one of the most injury-prone players in NBA history.
One, you do that. Two, you only get the 1 first-round pick back in return. Yeah. Even if you were going to trade Luka Doncic.
How many first-round picks did Mikal Bridges get?
And unless,
was it 4?
Yes, I think it was 4. It was
4. 6 to 7 first-round picks?
If you don't get 5 first-round picks back for that dude, you have failed.
Right.
You were a lunatic to trade him in the first place. But unless you get huge return for him, it doesn't matter what happens with Luka's career the rest of the way. It's always going to be a horrible, horrible trade.
That is part of it to me, though. And that was my biggest fear at post this trade, was how much it affected him mentally. And Grant, you saw him get the revenge body this year. That was obviously a big part of the story. Not suggesting he wasn't in shape or anything on those lines, but it's always been fascinating to me when athletes have what they consider to be a long runway with the team ripped away, whether it's a fan base, whether it's an emotional state, whatever. And my fear for him has been he won't reach his full potential in LA because now all of a sudden he's expected to be this. Like before it was like you win a title in Dallas, you're set for life. The statue's right outside. Now he walks in the building, Kareem, Magic, LeBron, all of these guys that have had multiple championships with a front office that has not
Shaq,
been great over the last
Kobe,
5 years.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
On and
but
on and on and on.
he's dealing with a different deck of cards than those guys were. And he has to now live up to that legacy on the back half of his career after someone he trusted basically said, nah, you're not worth the time here. We'll trade for an aging superstar instead.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that people grade Luka on a different curve.
Yeah.
I mean, the whining. Do you know how many guys whine in the NBA?
LeBron's
His
made a career
teammate
out
has
of it.
whined for 30 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't. He's still like one of the top best players all time. 3 players, but I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. It's a whole different.
That's a whole other.
That is
rabbit hole.
another day's topic. But we should talk about that. Would be fun. But listen, he's graded on a different curve. I mean, it's the whining, and he doesn't play defense. You know how many guys in the NBA don't play defense?
Especially these days.
Oh my gosh! Like it's Olay. Half the guys are playing Olay defense, and you're gonna ride Luka about his whining and the defense, but the guy's also leading the NBA in scoring. I mean, I would rather have that guy who's scoring 36 a game and his defense is questionable and complains to the refs than the guy who's scoring 15 and is doing Olay defense. I mean, what he's doing is no different than what half the guys in the league do. Jokic complains. The guys flop all the time. He doesn't. I mean, it's just what the league is, and I don't know why they grade Luka on a different curve. Why do people complain as Luka is the guy that does this when almost every guy in the NBA does the same?
The other part of the criticism that doesn't ring true to me is all of this talk about the injury history, which, sure, to some degree, he's been worn down the last couple years, but for people that are saying like, oh, he's ducking coming back, because that was a huge narrative for this playoff run. Because part of
Ric Flair.
Seriously, like that's what we're talking about here. Like he's having to field questions from guys that played through injuries in a different sport in a totally different demand. And also, some of this was based off of the timeline that was first put out there when he was injured earlier in the season. And if we can call up Sat 20, this was his reaction post game yesterday, talking about what he's had to deal with in the media on that regard.
It's very frustrating. I know some people wanted me back, but obviously I wasn't close to clearing. There was some stuff in the media that went out that wasn't true. Nobody of those people, saw my MRIs, no nothing, so it wasn't really true. If I could be out there, I would be 100%. Everybody in that room knows that. But it's been very tough. Like I said, this is the best time to play basketball. I was sad not to be able to help my team. So, and looking to the off season, obviously, I'm still doing recovery. So that's the first thing.
So injuries in general in the NBA are a huge issue among star players. But you saw the Celtics hold Jason Tatum out because he could have re-injured
Game
himself.
7.
Exactly. The win or go home, they held Jason Tatum out. Last year, Game 7, Pacers went for it, and they paid the price for it.
Yeah.
Like, injuries are so fickle in the NBA right now, of all sports right now, and you can't test someone of Luka's caliber. You do not want to roll that dice.
It's been brutal. I don't know if it's just recency bias, but I feel like the last few years we've seen a lot of big names go down in the playoffs, or like right around late season, like Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum. You go back a few years with Clay's injuries, and
they're significant. Like it's not like a tweak.
KD, it's just and it's always around that time of year, it feels like, which is unfortunate because you want to see these teams be full strength at the most important time of the year.
2 thoughts to book in this because we do have to hit a break. First of all, anybody who thought Luka Doncic didn't want to get out on the floor, really? This dude, one of the most joyful players in the NBA, yes, he whines, yes, he complains, fine, but he plays with joy, unlike many other players around the league. That dude loves to play. If he could have played, he'd be out there hooping. And secondly, just by asking this question, no, we are not saying in any way, shape, or form that Nico was right. We will never, I promise you, ever say that Nico was right.
There's always a disclaimer every time we have this conversation.
Ever. It will not happen.